Well, I'm Brian Kopp. I work here at Nixon Peabody. I live in Brighton, and I'm very passionate about CPR training and AEDs. I have two important and connected stories to tell. The first story is a sad story. It involves my son, Tyler, who was absolutely the most wonderful, iconic kid in the world, and he loved playing lacrosse. The sad part of the story is he was playing lacrosse at TSC, a local sports place, on a very, typical, not at all remarkable game being played amongst his peers, and he was hit with a lacrosse ball at precisely the wrong time, in the wrong place, with the wrong impact, and it caused his heart to fail. It's a condition called commotio cordis. He went down to the field, and there were some wonderful folks who immediately gave him CPR. An AED was brought to the field. It wasn't used immediately, and an ambulance was probably there within 15 minutes. While they were able to get his heart beating again, he never regained consciousness. And unfortunately, I've learned more about this, they call CC, that I'd like to know, but there's a window of time. You really need to have the right people there with the right equipment, and particularly the AED being used immediately. After 4 days, he was effectively brain dead, and we needed to, unfortunately, let him pass. We had celebrations of Tyler's life. We had a celebration in Nazareth College. There were thousands of people there. We had to move it to the Nazareth College because the venue in Brighton wasn't big enough. What wonderful people do is they support you when you're in trouble. And then they do what they do next, and that's they start thinking about, why did this happen? How can a 12-year-old die playing lacrosse with people? And so there was actually a lot of CPR awareness and AED awareness that happened in the Rochester community, and it was wonderful. It wasn't forced. I mean, I coached for years and years. I know the pressures of, being a parent coach. If you can make the practice or a game, you're doing well. But the whole notion of trying to train yourself on CPR and AED on top of that is, it's at times not only challenging to have the time to do it, but it's kind of scary to people. But that's what happened. So the second tale is a wonderful tale. It happened about 8 years later. I was playing lacrosse, preparing for an upcoming tournament. I still play old man lacrosse. And we had a typical pickup game with a wonderful group of guys that we played for years. And we were playing, and in the midst of the game, or towards the end of the game, one of my good friends, fell to the field. And so it happened, one of the other players on the team was actually emergency room doc. So we immediately figured out that it was heart-related, and he began giving him CPR. But even more incredible, and I really tie this back to Tyler, is one of the players, who was also a coach, had an AED in the trunk of his car. We ran out, we got the AED, and within 2-3 minutes, we had the CPR was going, and we had the AED finished, and we got his heart going again, and it was absolutely remarkable. Ironically, the doctors were talking to him and basically said, with the condition of the blockages in his heart, if this happened anywhere else, he would have died. But he happened to do it on a lacrosse field, amongst a group of people that knew the importance of CPR, particularly lucky to have an emergency room doc there, and in a place where one of the players put an AED in their car trunk. You had people there that had knowledge, you had people there that had the right equipment, and we saved a life. And I, in a way, I attribute that save to Tyler. It makes me happy to see that out of tragedy, you have people, learn and prevent further tragedy, which is what this is all about. I think the American Heart Association is, an important player in advocating for education and awareness and providing resources. So, I'm delighted to be part of this message. I'm delighted to support the American Heart Association in creating these education opportunities for the community. And we'd encourage everybody who's listening to this message to do the same. You know, this stuff matters, this stuff can make a difference. It's, you know, certainly the CC is a freak accident, but it happens. And with the right education, the right resources, we can have some very happy endings, which is wonderful.